Hi everyone, my name is Karen, this is my channel RatherBeReading, and today I'm bringing to you the Netflix book tag. The Netflix book tag was originally created by A Darker Shade of Whitney, and I was tagged an embarrassingly long time ago by Miss Maddie Reads. I will leave a link to both of their videos down below for you guys to check out, but let's jump straight in. Obviously, as I'm sure you guys can tell, all of these questions are centered around Netflix and different categories and things to do with Netflix, so let's jump in. Number 1, recently watched the last book you finished reading. At the time of filming, the last book that I finished reading is Girls of Paper and Fire by Natasha Nyan. This is a YA fantasy story about a girl who is a paper girl. So she's human, but in this world you can have kind of half human, half demon, or completely demon, and humans are kind of the lowest level. And she is picked to be a paper girl, which is a girl who is picked to be one of the king's concubines. And so she goes to be one of the king's concubines, and it's about her and a female-female relationship that develops between her and one of the other paper girls. I really enjoyed this book. Trigger warnings in it for sexual assault and things of that nature, but very, very interesting. I liked the world and I really enjoyed the romance, and I enjoyed a lot about it, and I would definitely like to pick up the second book when that eventually comes out, but that is the most recent book that I finished. The second question is top picks, a book or books that you have had recommended to you based on a book you have previously read. I really couldn't think of anything. I know for a fact that I've had books recommended to me as someone going, oh, if you like that book, you should read this. I just can't think of any of them. The only thing that I could slightly think of is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black, which my friend Mel recently recommended to me. But it wasn't really the book necessarily, it was more the romantic parts of that book. She said that she thought I'd really enjoy like what's going on in that romance. But that's really the closest example that I could come up with, which I know doesn't quite fit, but that's all I've got. And the third question is recently added, the last book that you bought. So this is, I guess, a spoiler for what will be coming up in my February book haul, but the last book that I purchased, which was online and hasn't arrived yet, was Educated by Tara Westover. Next is popular on Netflix, books that everyone knows about. 2 that you've read and 2 that you haven't. So for 2 that I've read, I've gone with the A Song of Ice and Fire series by George R.R. Martin. I have read the entire series several years ago. I kind of want to reread them, but they're so long. I think if we ever get a release date for Winds of Winter, I may attempt to reread them, but we'll see. But that is a very popular series that I have read. Another very popular book that I have read is The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. This was such a popular book years ago. I read this book way before I was ever on BookTube, and I very rarely read like popular books back then because I just wasn't connected to any part of the community, so I didn't hear about popular books. But even I heard about this book and read it, and I think I recommended it to a lot of people. Like, I really did enjoy this book back in the day. So 2 really popular books that I haven't read. First, I've picked popular books that I haven't read but that I own, that are on my TBR. So first I have the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J Maas. Hugely, hugely, hugely popular YA fantasy series. I think that I'm hopefully going to get to read this series this year, or at least start it this year. I know my friend Emma is dying for me to read it, but it's definitely a popular series that I haven't got to yet. And the second one that I just picked kind of at random is The Martian by Andy Weir. There is a time when everyone on BookTube, it felt like, was talking about The Martian. Even people who don't typically read a lot of adult or a lot of sci-fi, I felt like you couldn't watch a video on BookTube and not hear about this. And then obviously the movie came out with Matt Damon, so it got a lot of buzz then as well. And I do own this book, but I haven't read it, but hopefully sometime in the future I will get to it, and then I'll be able to watch the movie as well. Next is comedies, a funny book. I struggled with this one as well. I don't typically read a lot of comedic fiction. I've talked about this kind of in the past on my channel. It's just not something that I'm typically drawn towards. So for this, I've gone with the Stephanie Plum series by Janet Evanovich. This is a series, it's adult, it's chick lit, it's based around a character named Stephanie Plum, who in the first novel becomes a bounty hunter, a very kind of inept bounty hunter, and there's a lot of hijinks and stuff that go on. It's all very kind of slapstick with her not being very good at her job and a lot of, you know, hijinks ensuing. So it is very comedic in that way. I don't like laugh out loud or anything, but it is very comedic in nature and I do enjoy it. It's very kind of like light-hearted comedy type of chick lit, I guess you would say. Next is drama, a character who is a drama queen or king. So at first I was like, I'm not sure, and then I was looking through my shelves and I thought, obviously, I decided to go with Evie O'Neill from the Diviners series by RatherBeReading. Evie O'Neill is such a drama queen. She's not only a drama queen, but she's also a drama queen in that way that she loves attention and loves for her to kind of be the center of everything. I love that about her. She is very kind of, can be annoying at times, but is still lovable, but is definitely a drama queen. Next we have Animated, a book with cartoons on the cover, and I meant to bring this book down to show you, but instead I'm going to put a picture because I can't be bothered to go get it. I had a look through my shelves because I don't really know too many books that I own that have cartoons on the covers, and I went through a lot, and at first I was like, does it just mean an illustration? But then I don't really have too many books that have illustrations on the covers. So I've decided to go with, I just picked this one at random, but Toxic by Sarah Shepard. This is one of the books in the Pretty Little Liars series by Sarah Shepard, and as with this book, most of the books in her series have this kind of cartoony Barbie type illustration on the front of them. That was really the closest thing that I could find on my bookshelf that fit this prompt. Next we have Watch It Again, a book/book series that you want to reread. For this one, my gut answer was The Book Thief by Marcus Zuzak. The Book Thief by Marcus Zuzak is one of what I consider to be one of my favorite books of all time. I've only read it once and it's been several years. I really want to reread and re-experience this story because I've been wanting to reread it for a couple of years. I'm really hoping that I'm going to get to reread it in 2019, so keep your fingers crossed for me. Next is Documentaries, a non-fiction book that you'd recommend to everyone. For this, I have gone with Educated by Tara Westover, which I actually mentioned previously in this video. This is a non-fiction memoir by Tara that is about her life growing up in a very devout Mormon survivalist family. Her father didn't believe in education or healthcare or even registering their birth with the correct places that you do that. And she grew up in a very different lifestyle to the way I grew up and the way most people grew up. She suffered a lot of different types of abuse, and it's just about her and her childhood and her kind of overcoming that and moving into becoming an educated person, and all of those types of things. I thought that Tara Westover is an amazing writer. Her writing was just so felt so honest and so raw, and I just really connected with Tara and her story, and it's easily the best memoir I've ever read, so I definitely would recommend that everyone read that book. Next category is Action and Adventure, an action-packed book, and for this I've gone with The Six of Crows duology by Leigh Bardugo. I really couldn't think of any books that are more action-packed than this. It's YA fantasy, it's got a heist aspect to it, and some people complain that the heist part didn't happen soon enough in the first book, which I can understand where they're coming from, but I didn't need for it to get to the heist because there's so much going on in these books. It's very character focused, which you think would mean that it's not action-packed, but it is, because all of the characters are doing all of these crazy things and it's just constantly things going on, that I found these books to be very fast-paced and very action-packed, in my opinion, and I would highly recommend them for anyone who hasn't read them. The next category is new releases, a book that just came out or will be coming out soon that you can't wait to read. So kind of on brand from the previous question, I've gone with King of Scars by Leigh Bardugo. I am dying to get my hands on this. I can't decide if I want to read it now or whether I want to wait until the second book, because I believe this is going to be a duology, until closer to when that book comes out, because I hate reading series and then having to wait for the next book. So I'm thinking that I'm possibly not Like I might buy it, but I think I'm not going to pick it up until a little closer to we know the release of the final book in the duology, because I just don't think my heart can handle waiting, especially if it finishes off on some kind of cliffhanger, which I feel like it probably will. Then the final category is Max, tag some people. I'm not actually going to tag anyone because it took me forever to get to this. I'm not sure who's done it and who hasn't, but if you're interested in doing this tag, I would highly recommend it because it was really fun to kind of go through all these different categories and pick out all the books that fit into them. So if you want to do it, then feel free to say that I tagged you. But yeah, that is all I've really got. I would love to chat with you guys in the comments down below if you've got any thoughts on any of my answers. I always love to chat in the comments. Please like this video if you liked it. Please subscribe if you want to see more from my channel. But that is all I have for this video today. Bye guys!